where that next piece of innovation comes from. I'm not sure where it's going to come, but a lot of activity is happening right here in Toronto and in Ontario. Hello, my name is Wilfred So. I'm a patent agent and intellectual property advisor at Marks Clerk. Nice to meet you. If you're a startup and you're about to launch your product, your service, the step that you want to take is to make sure that your IP is in a position for protection. And that can mean many different things. It could mean having your patent applications filed. It could mean having your trade secrets in place. It could mean having your IP agreements with your most important customers or potential customers in place. Essentially, when you launch out into the world, we want to make sure that your intellectual property is well positioned for protection, but as well as for leverage against potential competitors. I've had the pleasure of working with many different companies, moving from ideation all the way to launch and even to exit. And sometimes that journey takes 1 or 2 years or even over a decade. And it's really exciting to see how the IP strategy changes over that entire path. As the needs change of the company for their business situation, so does the IP strategy. I'll give you a quick example. If you're early stage or you're about to launch, one of the things we want to do is have a IP protection strategy or patent protection strategy in place. Now, if you're about to do a huge investment and you're about to take over a certain market and there's a huge capital expenditure involved, before you make that capital expenditure and release many different locations, for example, we want to do a freedom to operate. Because once you've launched and put all that capital expenditure in movement or in place, we want to make sure that even beforehand, we're not going to run into liability or risk for potential infringement against your competitors. And then even as we move towards an exit for a company, we want to make sure that all of the IP assets are in great condition so that they can be moved over to that new entity. What we mean by that is the patents are in good shape, the trademarks are in good shape, the ownership is very clear, and there's no straggling questions of who owns the intellectual property. So these are all different things that we want to discuss and look towards as, again, you move from ideation maybe to certain business events and eventually to that exit that you might be looking for. So a lot of founders are operating on tight budgets. We see this often, and it's a reality when you're operating a startup company. How do you make the most use of the available funds that you have while your company is growing? There's a few ways. One is trade secrets. Trade secrets are cost-free. It's an internal policy where you can protect your ideas. Now, trade secrets have limitations because eventually some of your technology needs to meet the wild or needs to meet the market. So for that technology that needs to get exposed to the market, we want to have certain intellectual property strategies in place. Those IP strategies could be for patents or for trademarks, and patents and trademarks are expensive. In Canada, as well as in Ontario, there are both federal and provincial government funding programs. A really well-known Canadian federal funding program is called Elevate IP, which Marks Clerk is a member of. We're vetted service providers. There's also IPON, or IP Ontario, which provides funding of up to $300,000 over the lifetime for an Ontario-based company. These are all great reasons why we want startups in Ontario to be as active, as aggressive as possible with their IP, so that while they're in the early stages, they protect their IP and using these funds, and then as their company grows, they can leverage their IP for additional profits. There's another cost-effective IP strategy, especially when it comes to patents, which is to file a US provisional patent application. This US provisional patent application has a government fee of a couple $100 compared to several $1,000s. And that US provisional application will give you a patent pending status for 1 year that's going to be recognized by all countries around the world. That's really important because it allows you to put your stake in the ground to get your patent pending status, while once you have that patent pending status, you can go out to the world, to all your potential customers and investors and share that idea. So that's a very cost-effective strategy for getting your IP rights at least positioned at the onset. US and Canada, it's a different market, different set of laws compared to the European IP laws. And at the same time, I'd like to just let you know that for myself, I'm part of a wonderful team called Marks Clerk. We're an international IP firm with a lot of UK patent attorneys and European patent attorneys. And why this matters is that when companies from the Horizon program look to set up their companies in both US and Canada, as well as to establish their home base and grow their home base in the European market, Marks Clerk can help you on both sides of the pond. Companies that are operating on the edge of innovation are inherently operating in a very fast-moving space. The technology is always evolving. So how do you future-proof your IP strategy? If you future-proof your IP strategy, that means that the patent applications you file today, for example, might have still relevance 5-10 years from now. That's a tricky thing to do. And one of the things that we do, or one of the tactics that I like to work with my clients, is to look at the context, the business context, and the integrations of external technologies with certain nuggets, or should I say black boxes of technology. And if we can black box certain modules of technology, even if those black boxes of technology might change over the years, such as a new AI model gets swapped in based on the newest AI model, but if the patent protection technology or the patent application covers the technology surrounding it, if those interfaces, those APIs, the interactions with that product remain the same, then we can protect that. That's one way. Another great way to do that is through trade secrets. Trade secrets are based on the code and policies, algorithms. If a company can protect this well, that trade secret policy will adapt to the newest types of technology that the company is using. Another way to protect or future-proof technology companies' progress is actually based on brand. Branding is so important these days. As a company grows and develops, their customers start to trust that company based on their brand and not actually the technology in and of itself. Why this matters is that if the brand grows and has that consistency, it doesn't matter what the exact technology is, that brand will persist and that brand will continue to have value. So there are many different ways to future-proof your IP strategy in a very fast-moving technology context. One of the honors I have as working in the IP field is that I get to see companies take ideas to impact. And I have many stories to share over the years, and I hope to experience many more stories throughout my career. Well, one of them I would say would be a small Ontario company which has created a system of tracking systems for cameras as well as lighting, which is now being used all around the world in Cirque du Soleil shows. This company is called Blacktracks. They've won an Oscar for their technology. Some of their technology is used to make major movie productions. It's being used in the halftime Super Bowl shows, and to see that technology come from these Ontario engineers, from these developers, these artists, have great impact around the world, that's entirely satisfying. Where that next piece of innovation comes from, I'm not sure where it's going to come, but a lot of activity is happening right here in Toronto and in Ontario.